Hold on. All right, everybody. Hi, how are you? Happy Wednesday. Very excited about this weekend. Very excited. Details to come on the pre meet and greet. The pre meet and greet. No, the pre meet sounds wrong. Sounds like I guess that would just be a living animal. Anyways, speaking of living animal, can we just talk randomly for a second? This is so unrelated, and welcome to the show, by the way. If I can ask you to give a thumbs up during your time here, it's not too much to ask. Um, did you guys see this story? It's I don't quite grasp. There's a level of hilarity to this that seems almost impossible. This is one of those areas where I'm like, we're just living in a simulation. This is frigging ridiculous. This part, or hold on, I've got to bring this up, and there's so much busy noise. There you go. This business, right? That's to me. I'm like just trying to fit that into your head. In case you're listening and your eyes aren't on the screen, Beyond Meat suspends executive after he was arrested on suspicion of biting a man's nose. Now when we're talking about going beyond meat, that's not what we're talking about. That's cannibalism, and that's way beyond meat. I'm just saying. By the way, those who like my shirt, I got this in DC when we were there last time. You know, it's one of the like more common shirts that they have now there that I was like, I kept seeing it everywhere. I was like, that's really cool, and it's very comfy. It's a good shirt. Just a reminder that we're all on the level. You know what I mean? Nobody's better than anybody. I mean, what you do might be better, but what you are ain't. Right? There we go. So that said, welcome to the show. This is one of those days where the talking points, you know, the sort of standard talking points around. I'm gonna see if I want to open one more before I get into this, because there's so much. Because of what happened today with Letitia James, we covered that on the morning show. If you didn't get a chance to see, you can go back and look at it. We watched her whole announcement and everything. That in discussing the whole Letitia James idea, and the what her strategy and where it's going, or there's not a lot where the Republicans can really push back. You know, they're kind of stuck. And first of all, because they have to read the 280-page civil case before they can address it. Otherwise, no, they know Trump. They know that if he's like, it's nothing, they're like, yeah, you say that a lot. And a lot of times it's fucking something. And so, can we check and make sure it's not something before I buy your it's nothing thing? And when it's a lot of the stuff that he normally pushes back on, he has the benefit of sort of a media narrative, of the lack of information that can come forth, like the Mar-a-Lago search. There's a lot of the classified information that, quite frankly, the government can't say what it is. So Trump can paint it as whatever, and they can never respond. This happens with the FBI. This happens with a lot of people who attack law enforcement or the courts on a case, when the case, as far as what they can talk about, the people involved in an ongoing investigation, their hands are kind of tied. Because if at any point they do come out and go, yeah, we know this guy did this, and we know this, and we know that, then the person will go, I need a change of venue outside the country because everybody thinks I'm guilty because you went on television and told all the evidence. And I can't get a fair trial because everybody who saw that, and I can't prove nobody did, will think I'm guilty. So and by the way, Trump uses that tactic, and people like him use that tactic to try to force the hand of the media or others to start filling in the gaps and expanding on the story, going, there's nothing. And as they do it, then that gives him more room to go, I can't get a fair trial. Yeah, the spaghetti defense is, and that's the name of the show today, Trumpworld uses the spaghetti defense. They're just throwing everything against the wall, see what sticks. The problem is, in this particular case, that the Trump defenders are really behind the eight ball, because unlike his normal blather and the sort of opaqueness of the governmental response, the Letitia James case is a civil case, and the entire text of it is available. So it's like and I started printing chunks of it, and I'm going through it with a fine-tooth comb, and there's a lot of detail in it. And a lot of that is these assholes are gonna like, I don't know, I'm not reading that, but if I say it's a witch hunt, it's gonna bite me in the ass. 280 pages of this shit, and an SDNY referral, and an IRS referral. M-Ham Hands, somebody can give you, there's a link on how to do it for becoming a Twitch subscriber if you have Amazon Prime. Thanks for asking. So here we go. This is, and boy, oh, Shevitz. And I'll give you the best example. This is a great example. Here's Jimmy Dore coming to the rescue of Donald Trump. Who is Ray Epps? Now, holy shit. We've done the whole Ray Epps story. We've talked about this nonsense. Ray Epps is the guy that the hold on, god damn it, slide up there. The Republicans are like, this is the guy who was like the maggot whisperer. He went up, he was an FBI plant, and he went up and he whispered in one guy's, and there was never going to be a fight, and he whispered in this guy's ear, and that guy immediately attacked because Epps is a hypnotist. And why was he taken off the FBI's list and all that? Like, we've covered this shit. That's kind of the point. This was a talking point a fucking year ago. Epps called right after the January 6th and was like, I didn't say shit to that guy. I told him the cops were just doing their job. And they got the guy who attacked him, and they said, what'd Ray Epps say to you? And Ray Epps said, don't overreact. The cops are just doing their job. They're like, it's just fucking dumb. The night before, he was like, we're going to have to go to the Capitol. But when he got to the Capitol, he's like, oh, these motherfuckers are going to go to the fucking Capitol. And that's not what he was talking about. So he tried to talk the dude down. He was a Trump fan, but he was like, well, go up there and make a lot of noise, but don't beat up any cops. And then they were like beating up the cops. The guy's like, cool it, don't beat up cops. These are our, cops are, we're pro cop. And then the guy went and attacked cops anyways. And they're like, he's the one who made him do it. It's so dumb. But this should give you an example of the storyline. This is how bad it is going, for all these folks. Now, we got a couple of things today. We got some Real America's Voice just fucking going into La La Land to support this dude. Devin Nunes, this, again, the whole Danchenko Durham thing is also, sort of smoke. They're just throwing that against the wall. We'll deal with Don Jr., but first I want to deal with this a little bit. This is Jimmy Dore's take on his Ukraine war takes. The dude has a fucking LaRouchian on as his expert now all the time. And he's had Aaron Mate on, and Kurt Metzger buys into whatever the fuck. Honest to God, I don't know what Kurt Metzger's politics are. I don't know that Kurt Metzger knows. He seems to be like a Jordan Peterson, Joe Rogan / MAGA fan who hates the left for not doing enough. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Anyways, this is, the story is Ukraine war planned years ago, documents reveal. So obviously I'm going to learn something. Documents are going to reveal that the Ukraine war was planned all along by, and I'm assuming,
sales teams have it tough.
They do.
The pressure to hit their numbers keeps rising.
Damn, that's loud. Sorry. Great. I'm covering the audio on this. It's playing in my ear, but you don't have to hear it. Can I get past this, please? So easy. Just work out of your kitchen. It's lovely. All right, here we go. This is
So I wanted to tell you about, there's the RAND Corporation.
Yes, there is the RAND Corporation. That's a fact. And so the RAND Corporation created the Iraq War, or I mean the Ukraine War.
You know what the Rand Corporation is, right? So they're the ones who do all
Yeah, they're Rand Paul's corporation that he made up to give himself an award.
the dirty work for the government. They're the ones who had
Jesus, it is loud. Why is it? Look at that. It's half. See, I do not trust the faders on the internet.
the Pentagon Papers that got stolen by Daniel Ellsberg, and then he released them, and it blew the roof off the Vietnam War that we'd been lied to by 4 successive administrations. Caitlin Johnson tweets out,
Oh, Caitlin Johnson. I know Caitlin Johnson. Hold on one second. Caitlin. By the way, remember a little bit ago, I was like, this is Jimmy's Ukraine whisperer. Okay, hold on one second. This is fun. Caitlin Johnstone, right? Yeah. Let's see. Russia won't invade. There we go. Because a lot of people. Where'd you go? Yeah, there we go. Where's the somebody will post this. Hold on. I'll find the photo of it. Because somebody had to yeah, so this is what Caitlin Johnstone tweeted on February 18th regarding the Russia invasion. I want you to promise me you'll completely revise your worldview and drastically change your media consumption habits when March gets here and the invasion still hasn't happened. And since then, she's just been all up in Russia had a reason to do this, and it was all fine in the first place, and who gives a shit? And she's just awful. Her take on it is fucking gross. I feel like we don't talk about the fact that 2019 study commissioned by the U.S. Army found that the U.S. could advance its geostrategic interest in Eurasia by baiting Russia into overextending itself in wars against U.S. proxies in Ukraine and elsewhere. So is that the report?
I feel like we don't talk enough about the fact that the 2019 study commissioned by the U.S. Army.
Yeah, you don't talk enough about it. You know what we don't talk about enough of either? The fact that Caitlin Johnstone was berating people for thinking that, especially the Biden administration, for saying, yeah, Russia's going to attack. And by the way, keep this in your mind. She feels like they don't talk about this idea that it was a fait accompli that the U.S. Army was going to bait Russia into a war in 2019 under Trump. And that's, we'll see if he actually brings up the text of this as opposed to her take on it. I would love to see that. Maybe we will. But that she also believed back in February that this 2019 study wasn't going to happen or some shit.
Found that the U.S. could advance its geostrategic interests in Eurasia by baiting Russia into overextending itself.
Oh, that's what they're doing. They're overextending themselves. You know, that's the problem with Chechens and Chechen and Wagner rape squads and the mutilation of prisoners of war and stuff like that. You get so caught up in it, you're overextended.
In wars against U.S. proxies.
I'm sorry? In wars against U.S. whatsies?
Proxies in Ukraine and elsewhere. So you're not going to hear Ali Velshi bring this up.
Yeah, you're not going to see Ali Velshi bring this up. Why won't you see Ali Velshi bring this up, Jimmy? Because he's a warmonger who wants people to die. He's just that kind of a guy. It's probably his Muslim upbringing. You're right.
As he manufactures consent for war.
He manufactures consent for war. In Russia or?
And says he's not.
He's not. He just isn't.
This is the paper.
Extending Russia, competing from advantageous ground by James Dobbins, Raphael Cohen, Nathaniel Chandler, Brian Frederick. They're going to do it. Published by the Rand Corporation in Santa Monica 2019.
Extending Russia, competing for advantageous ground. Competing from advantageous ground.
Doesn't matter.
Recognizing that some level of competition with Russia is inevitable.
Yeah. Because they tend to attack people.
RAND researchers conducted a qualitative assessment of cost-imposing options that could unbalance and overextend Russia.
We didn't just why didn't the RAND Corporation just go straight to nuke them?
Such cost-imposing options could place new burdens on Russia, ideally heavier burdens than would be imposed on the United States for pursuing those options. The exact opposite's happening.
Oh, this is the whole, like, they're not feeling the sanctions we are, is what Jimmy thinks right now. Yeah, I know, because right now the U.S. is having to get the Blackwater guys to recruit rapists to fight on behalf of Ukraine.
Russia's doing better than ever. The West, the United States, is having high inflation, high gas prices, energy.
Yeah, like Russia doesn't have any problems. Hold on one second. Russia's doing better than ever. This is one of my better than ever. Well, in all fairness to Jimmy, I think they are doing better than ever. Considering their, if you consider their behavior, that it is better than ever that they are on a path to oblivion. Ukraine military gains could deepen Russia's economic problems. What do you mean deepen? Russia doesn't have any economic problems. What are you, drunk? Let's see. The Economist Intelligence Unit is projecting a Russian GDP contraction of 6.2% this year and 4.1% next year, which its global forecasting director, Agatha Demirais, told CNBC is huge by both historical and international standards. Ukraine's counter, which is, by the way, why Russia is buying artillery shells from North Korea and Iranian drones. Here's the thing. Turkey is a NATO country, but Turkey is also playing footsie with Russia. It's trying to have it both ways. But in this battle, the only one, Turkey's drones, the ones that, the Bayraktars that they've been using that were pivotal, especially in the beginning, and that they are modifying and up-arming specifically for the Ukrainian fight, is one of the most devastating things that's happened to the Russian military. Now, Jimmy does not read anything that doesn't reinforce his belief system. He won't. And his belief system is that Ukraine is full of Nazis, and any evidence to the contrary, which includes the mutilation deaths of children in Bucha and other areas by hand by the Russians. We're not talking about an errant missile or the blowing up of a civilian building that either side is using for military support or the human shields argument or any of that shit. We're talking about Russian military conscript soldiers, Wagner Group people, and Chechens that are fighting with the Russians, carving up people's genitals and their eye sockets while they're alive. And Jimmy thinks that that's the group that, and that's not even debatable, like they brag about it. If you look at the Russian Telegram channels, it'll make you throw up. And Jimmy thinks those are the people that should be winning this.
Energy prices, imposing deeper trade and financial sanctions would likely degrade the Russian economy, especially if such sanctions are comprehensive and multilateral.
By the way, there's no such thing as suck sanctions, no matter how much Jimmy wishes there were.
Thus, their effectiveness will depend on the willingness of other countries to join in such a process.
Yes, all the European countries joined in.
But sanctions come with costs, and depending on their severity, considerable risks.
Risks? Why do I always feel like he reads like he's reading to a class of first graders on, like, I don't know, Childless Father Day?
Providing lethal aid to Ukraine would exploit Russia's greatest point of external vulnerability. But any increase in U.S. military arms and advance to Ukraine would need to be carefully calibrated to increase the cost to Russia of sustaining its existing. So do you see what Rand
No, finish what you're saying, because he's bailing out on this because this is the mitigatory part. Because the Rand Corporation, that's all they fucking do. The Rand Corp, they game out whether or not China's going to invade Taiwan. They gamed out what happened in Hong Kong. They game out what if the Chinese invade Vietnam again.
They're laying out what we did.
No, they're not. They're so far in what you've read, fuckwad. They're going, there's this and there's this and there's this and there's this. And if we're going to deal with this, this is one of the ways that they would have to do it. And he's specifically cherry picking other elements because he's focusing on the Ukraine, providing lethal aid to Ukraine, which, by the way, we did all through that time. The only person who pulled it back was Trump to try and manipulate them to help him win an election.
This is another economic war with another economic foe. And so
Why is Russia an economic foe? I'm serious. Russia makes fucking nothing. The oil and gas market that they have is not something the United States is getting into. We don't want to liquefy our natural gas and sell it to Europe. It doesn't make sense. It's not necessary. There are enough candidates for its use, and we sell it back into our own market at the market cost. But this would jack the price up, and the government wouldn't be in the business of jacking that price up for our providers at the expense of the citizenry. The balancing act would be dumb.
Pretending we're fighting for liberty and to save Ukrainian people when we're actually
fighting for Nazis,
instigating them to invade Ukraine, so we can use that as an excuse to ramp up our sanctions.
Yes, that's what it was. We're never going to be able to ramp up our sanctions unless, is there a way we can get Russia to carpet bomb civilian areas, set up minefields around kindergartens, and attack the capital of a sovereign country? Yeah, we can do that. How? How do we get them to do that? We wait. You sure we don't have to do anything? We don't have to add do we have to add anti-ballistic missile systems into Ukraine? No. Do we have to renew the call for them to be in NATO or anything? Do we have to do a big thing to get them to sign up for NATO? Nah, that was 8 years ago. Nobody gives a shit.
And commit an economic war that involves a real war. That's what we're doing. And it's all right here in this paper, and nobody ever talks about it.
Dude, okay, first of all, there's no fucking way Jimmy read the entire Rand Corporation report that he's referencing. I don't buy it for a fucking second. He's pulling the pieces that she probably put on her page.
Let me bring in Jackson. Why do you think nobody ever talks about this paper?
Well, it's extremely damning. It's the same way that they never bring up the leaked cables.
By the way, this is the guy who's speaking at the Lyndon LaRouche gathering.
From WikiLeaks that show William Burns was fomenting an ambition to destabilize Russia through a war in the Donbass back in 2008. They don't bring up this stuff because it highlights the fact that this is not a quote unquote illegal Russian invasion that came out of nowhere. This was coordinated and planned and orchestrated for many.
Yeah, it was illegal and murderous and disgusting and awful, but we made them do it. The United States put a short skirt on Ukraine and made them walk through a bad neighborhood in the middle of the night. That's what we did. And how is Russia supposed to pass that up? What are they supposed to do? Be moral? Be gentlemanly?
Years.
And it's right here in black and white. Look at this.
It's purple, actually.
Look at this. This is from that report.
This is from it. Encouraging domestic protests and other nonviolent resistance would focus on distracting or destabilizing the Russian regime and reducing the likelihood that it would pursue aggressive actions abroad. But the risks are high and it would be difficult for Western governments to directly increase the incident intensity of anti-regime.
This is what they...
Listen, encouraging domestic protests and other nonviolent resistance would focus on distract. Is he going to read? See the but down here? But the risks are high, and it would be difficult for Western governments to increase the incidence of intensive anti-regime activities, but it would be difficult to do that. All right.
Wanted the United States to do encouraging domestic protests, meaning protests inside Russia, and other nonviolent resistance.
Those fuckers, the CIA with their nonviolent resistance movements,
would focus on distracting or destabilizing the Russian regime.
By the way, distracting the red text. The RAND Corporation didn't do that. Jimmy made the red text. He Jesusizes anything that's in it.
And reducing the likelihood that it would pursue Isn't that what they...
Look, wait a minute. What? Wait. Look at this motherfucker. You can't stop reading the quote you put on right before the but, ya butt. Fucking hell.
Said Russia did to the United States during the 2016 election.
Yeah, so this might be revenge. I don't know.
That they fomented discord with their...
They did.
Their $50,000 in Facebook ads.
Yeah, that wasn't it alone, but...
And that they caused us to hate each other and tried to destabilize us. But isn't that what they said Russia did? And that's bad? But here we are planning to do it to another...
No, that's the RAND Corporation saying there are ways you could do it. This is one of the possibilities, but it would have a cost. They're gaming it out.
Country. Mm-hmm. But the risks are high, and it would be difficult for Western governments to directly increase the incidence of or intensity of anti-regime activities in Russia.
Unless...
So interfering with internal operations...
Look, again... It's literally like having a bunch of people sitting around a table going, what if this happened? And then this happened. And would it trigger this? It's the chess making. That's what the RAND Corporation does for a fucking living.
In an attempt to destabilize another country. Who wrote this study? Putin? This is what we're the bad guys.
We're the bad guys. Because a country, this is the logic that I'm seeing, the country that would conscript murderers and the Wagner group and Russians, and tell their own soldiers, by the way, that they're only on an exercise, and then force them into an invasion of a country that many of them have family in, and attack a capital, apropos of fucking nothing. No, nothing happened the day before. There was no Gulf of Tonkin. There was no Pearl Harbor that caused this. This was just Putin's decision. He put people at the border before, and this was no different until he actually went through. And apparently that Putin, who's the kind of guy who would do this, and apparently who's easily duped into doing this at the same time, whose murderous response to a non-triggered event, an optional war of choice. There was no trigger point. It was just a matter of time. That people before that were like, this motherfucker keeps talking about attacking Ukraine, and he's gonna do it. And we could wait until then to fight this dude in a bloody battle, or is there a way that we could kind of point this out early and his own people will take him out? And not even kill him. That's, by the way, this is distracting or destabilizing it so that there is less likely that they would have an attack.
The United States are the bad guys. The United States are the bloodthirsty warmongers for...
Jimmy, move to Russia then, man. Do a White Knights. I mean, how can you keep giving your millions of tax dollars or hundreds of thousands of tax dollars from your media empire to this bloodthirsty regime? Your tax dollars are being used for horrible atrocities. I think the only answer is move to Russia.
Profit. The United States are the world's terrorists.
Again. And why are we the world's terrorists? Are we the world's terrorists because of Vietnam or even the Iraq war? Were we the world's terrorists on this level when we were in Afghanistan, or is it just that Biden's gotten us out? we're the world's terrorists because the Rand Corporation wrote a paper gaming out whether or not that you could destabilize the Russian regime through nonviolent means. And nonviolent terrorists. We're the worst nonviolent terrorists in the world. We terrorize you into raping your neighbor. That's why Putin sent Wagner into Somalia to cut the bellies of pregnant women open.
It's not El
We scared him into it.
Qaeda. It's not El Nusra. It's not anybody except the United States.
Okay. By the way, the serious issues. This is an inserious man. He doesn't even know what the fuck he's talking about. So let's not get too wrapped up in getting upset at what he's saying, because he's also I mean, it's a circle jerk. Most of his followers are bots. You've got some hardcore former TYT, MAGA commies, right? That watch the show, but that's pretty much it.
So let me, Craig,
Craig, bail me out here.
What would you like to say about this Rand document?
What would you like to say about this Rand document? But tell us, Craig.
Well, first of all, they're just a think tank, so there's just a coincidence that everything happened the way it did, I guess, is what they're trying to tell us. And we
It's just a coincidence. So are there other think tanks that were also paid by the army that argued a different point? That everybody gamed out one part of it, or some were for it or against it, or what the ultimate conclusion was? Because what he keeps reading is the mitigatory halves. If they did this, it might do this. If they don't do this, it might do that.
We learned a lot about this. And people who pay attention to Ukraine for quite some time, 2014, right?
When 2014, when they had a totally democratic system and the government came in and deposed it by the Ukrainians rising up and getting rid of a Russian sock puppet.
All the information beforehand. We understood who Victoria Nuland, working with Jeffrey Pyatt when they were handing out cookies on the Maidan, who they would have as the next leader. And that person was the next leader. And they even said, the other guy that was, I believe, was Vitaly
Yatsenyuk.
Klitschko. No,
Klitschko, the mayor of Kiev.
Keep him over here. So everything happened the way it said it would happen. And this also reminds me a lot.
No, it didn't. The person who stepped in was the opposition leader. Yeah. Yanukovych offered Yatsenyuk a position as like PM in his government. And the guy said no, because he wasn't going to give Yanukovych the cover of true democracy when he was the leader of this actual movement to try and stabilize and decouple Ukraine from Russia so it could be a sovereign country and move ahead with ties to the European Union and regular trade stuff and have their own sovereignty without, more attacks and all this kind of stuff. And Yanukovych said, was trying to fold this guy in, fold Yatsenyuk into his group. And Yatsenyuk said, fuck you. And then after Yanukovych fucked off, and he lives in Russia now under Putin's guard, the obvious choice for the next person, there were two people that were basically vying for it, was Yatsenyuk, and then Poroshenko afterwards.
A lot of Wesley Clark. Remember Wesley Clark talked about he got the information. Oh, it's just worse. It's not just Iraq. We're going to go into...
Yeah, this was the Seven Nation. This is a project for New American Century. Totally unrelated, and also something, by the way, that they were doing, that the PNAC was doing under the table, and the rest of America wasn't for it.
Syria, Libya, Lebanon, this country, that country. So, a lot of times I question why this information comes out. Like, it seems like it's a...
I see. So this is conspiratorial in this way. Why does the Rand story come out after it? Because it's publicly available. It's been publicly available.
Controlled release of information. So
no, it's not controlled release. What Jimmy's doing is controlled release. You fuck.
I try to look at things that way. Like,
yeah, like what's behind the whole, like when you look at it. Like, why do we even know this, man? Why are these particular words going into my brain right now?
Why are they telling this right now when they're clearly
They're not. Caitlin Johnstone brought it up because she's trying to save her flagging bullshit Ukraine takes.
are caught, fomenting and planning a war before time?
It's fomenting, and that's not what happened. And even the shit he's read so far is mitigatory.
So I that's the thing that I struggle with is like
Logic, reason, words, grammar, syntax.
why are they showing this?
Why is Jimmy showing me this? Why are this fucker thinks that those words were read on the colored red on the paper that Jimmy found? That I mean that's clearly what's happening.
Get a hold of this.
Look at the stuff that they recommended. Reposturing bombers within easy striking range of key Russian strategic targets.
We can't. You got to move that out of the way. Possible air and space cost something.
Reposturing fighters.
Yeah, move them out of the way, dum.
So that they are closer
Possible air and space cost imposing measures
to their targets than bombers. Deploying additional tactical nuclear weapons to locations in Europe and Asia.
None of which happened.
Repositioning U.S. and allied ballistic missile defense systems to better engage Russian ballistic missiles.
Which also didn't happen.
And goad Russia into a costly arms race by breaking out of the nuclear arms control regime.
Which, hold on one second. God damn. So, the START treaty between the U.S. and Russia on measures for the further reduction of limiting strategic offensive arms, also known as the New START Treaty, enhances U.S. national security. This is entered into February 5th, 2011, goes through 2026. Now, the Trump, hold on. Comes in, yeah. This is when, yeah. Let's see, use control, extend solar to 2021. Okay. Where is he? Did it go in an INF treaty? Yeah. Here you go. 5 years out, Russia. This is 20. Where's the article? When's the time on this? Yeah. So this is October of 2020. U.S. rebuffs Putin bid to extend nuclear arms pact for a year. With negotiations for a 5-year extension stalled, the Russian president's proposal puts pressure on who? To salvage an Obama-era accord. I'm sorry, who? Russia on Friday proposed extending a soon-to-expire nuclear arms treaty for 1 year without any changes, a move seen in Washington as a tactic to delay action on the treaty until after the American presidential election. Trump administration swiftly dismissed Moscow's proposal as a, quote, non-starter. Now, again, this Rand issue that he brought up, it started in 2019. Let me show you that. Here you go. February 3rd, 2021. This is after Biden has been sworn in. U.S. extends sole nuclear arms control agreement with Russia. We reversed that shit. Trump was the one pushing, if anything, pushing us towards war with Russia, if that's the fucking argument of that last bit of the Rand part. But Biden came in and went, no, talk to them. Let's get it together. Let's extend it. So fucking stupid. Goad Russia into a costly arms race. And it totally happened, except it didn't.
Mm-hmm. More?
Uh-huh.
More stuff they wanted to do. Increasing U.S. forces in Europe, increasing European NATO members, ground capabilities, and deploying a large... This is also they can goad Russia into doing...
Asshole, they didn't do this until after Russia attacked. You know what? Technically speaking, from the Rand Corporation's point of view, maybe if we'd have done this before, Russia wouldn't have done it.
Doing what they did in
They would have anyways.
Ukraine, so we could have a proxy war. So we could beat them. So then we can then institute economic sanctions, and we could have them. We could beat them economically.
Yes, because we'll never be able to beat Russia economically with their entire economy. Italy, you're next. Your economy is bigger than Russia's. And, America, there can be only one.
That's all. So we can sell more liquefied natural gas to Europe.
This is all a plot to sell LNG to from Qatar. Because Qatar's the bigger supplier, the bigger new supplier now. No. We didn't start a war in Ukraine to sell LNG to Europe because Ukraine has liquid natural gas, you fuck. They will sell it.
We're the terrorists. Most of the options discussed, including those listed here, are in some sense escalatory, and most would likely prompt some Russian counter-escalation. That's what they want.
Who's they, motherfucker?
Thus, besides the specific risks associated with each option, there is additional risk attached to a generally intensified, yeah, you mean like a fucking war?
All right, now he's getting mad at them for having a reasonable paragraph. The Rand Corporation discusses these things. This is so stupid.
And our economy getting crushed the way it is?
Yeah, that's what it is. Aren't you mad about its inflation's caused by this Ukraine war because we started it so that America could make more money so we could be rich and impoverish our people?
Finally, although Russia will bear the cost of this increased competition less easily than the United States will, both sides will have to divert national resources from other purposes. We're doing it to ourselves.
Yeah, that's what I took away from that paragraph.
On purpose.
Yeah, that's what it is. America wants Russia's 36% of Europe's natural gas market for the next 10 years until they convert largely to renewables or nuclear, just so we can impoverish our own citizens. What? Who believes this shit? I mean, ultimately, does any other word he says mean anything? No. The entirety of his conversation is based on the idea that America is the terrorists. That's all it. Everything else is just artificial. It's like straw man documentation for his premise. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What do you mean? Mm-hmm. Who was
on Ukraine? This is what Rand said.
Rand Paul?
Proxy competition of this sort is not new. The renewal of such maneuvering marks a return to a
Well, wait a minute. Hold on one second, if I may. Where are we? 7:33. I got to see something real quick. 1 second, if I may. Extending Russia. Rand Corp. Now, why are they, let's see, full document, PDF. Look, give me that sweet PDF situation. Okay, and Control plus, so I can scroll this over and show you guys. Oops, hold on, back up. There we go. And I have to, okay. This is the paper that we're looking at right here, just so you know. Can I just say 7:33? 1 second. Where were we? 7:25. That's close enough. Here we go. All right. Such proxy competition. Now he's not putting page numbers, and this is a 354-page report. It's also been publicly available. For more information on this publication, visit rand.org and then the thing right there. Copyright 2019, Rand Corporation. This has been publicly available since 2019. This report documents research and analysis conducted as part of the RAND Corporation research project extending Russia competing from an advantageous ground, sponsored by the Army Quadrennial Defense Review Office, Offices of the Deputy Chief of Staff, the G8, headquarters, and the Department of Army. The purpose of this project was to examine a range of possible means to extend Russia. By this, we mean nonviolent measures that could stress Russia's military or economy or the regime's political standing at home and abroad. The steps we post would not have either defense or deterrence as their prime purpose, though they might contribute to both. Rather, these steps are conceived as of measures that would lead Russia to compete in domains or regions where the United States has a competitive advantage, causing Russia to overextend itself militarily or economically, or causing the regime to lose domestic and or international prestige and influence. The report deliberately covers a wide range of military, economic, and political policy options. Its recommendations are directly relevant to everything from military modernization and force posture to economic sanctions and diplomacy. Consequently, it speaks to all the military services, other parts of the U.S. government that have hand in foreign policy and the broader foreign and defense policy audience. This is what they're paid to do. This is what they came up with. Now, there is I'm going to see if I can search this out. On Ukraine, let's see, where do I search this? Got to be a search word for it. Hold on. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to find it in there. Let's see. Search. Proxy competition. Whoops. Competition. I can type. And Ukraine. Let's see that. Search there. Go all the way back to 2019. Methods of assuming this. Okay, hold on. Proxy competition, Ukraine war. Should we do I need another search word. So, overextending Russia, something like that. No matches found. Son of a bitch. You guys, all right. I gotta open this as a PDF. Hold on. Download it, and then save it in documents. There you go. And then open it. Give me a second. There's a reason for this. Work with me. Work with me. Brace yourself. Brace yourself. Okay. Opening up this. I hope. There we go. Now, search. Okay, here we go. Now we got aha. Now, search for a word in there. Search in this site. Search. So proxy competition. Hold on. I want to search the document, stupid. There we go. Proxy competition. Yeah, here you go. All right. So, okay. Because there's a ... there. So, proxy competition of this sort is not new, right? That's the ... So, give me a second. And, blow this up. Control plus. There we go. Proxy competition of this sort is not new. Indeed, the Great Game characterized interstate relations of several countries as aspirant global powers clashed over conflicting spheres of influence. The renewal of such maneuvering marks a return to form of geopolitical competition that, as some analysts argue, took a brief hiatus after the end of the Cold War, when the United States was left as the lone superpower and the ideology of liberal democracy seemed to reign supreme. Now, which part? Renewal of geopolitical argues end of Cold War in the United States seem to reign supreme. He's going to take reign supreme out of this. Indeed, the great game characterized interstate relationships for several centuries as aspirant global powers clashed over conflicting spheres of influence. So he took out the fact that a bunch of other countries, that it was multiple countries doing this. That's crucial to this, just for the record. Here you go. And the top of it, by the way, before this starts, Russia Today, which is Jimmy's favorite television network, is far less extended than the old Soviet Union. Its domestic population is much more homogenous, with ethnic Russians composing more than 77% of its population. Its external commitments are far more limited, comprising only small bits of Ukraine, Georgia, Moldova, and a larger portion of Syria. That's why you didn't read the paragraph before. It does face active opposition, however, both in eastern Ukraine and Syria. The United States has provided limited support to Russia's opponents in both countries and might do more, thereby driving up Russia's costs. And again, these are all suggestions, but we'll see.
Said
he's gonna like the phrase "reign supreme."
Competition of this sort is not new. The renewal of such maneuvering.
Yeah. Why don't you put that thing about like several countries do proxy competition, right?
Marks a return to a form of geopolitical competition that some analysts argue took a brief hiatus after the end of the Cold War, when the United States was left as the lone superpower and the ideology of liberal democracy seemed to reign supreme. The United States
could also become more vocal in its support for NATO membership of Ukraine, which it didn't. Hold on one second. Hold on. I'll look this up real quick. Back here. NATO's, there should be a requirement for unanimity. Where are they? Okay, come on. NATO's require. Let's go. Let's see. Do we search the whole thing? 0. Hold on. All right. I'm not going to be able to find where this page is from what he's put up there. The United States could also become more vocal in its support for NATO membership for Ukraine, which we have not done.
Could also become more vocal in its support for NATO members for Ukraine. It's every fucking thing they've said in this paper we've done.
No, we haven't. Nobody in the last, since Biden took over, certainly, and certainly not during fucking Trump, talked about the U.S. being more vocal for Ukraine to join NATO. Nonsense.
Just a coincidence, Jimmy.
Oh, by the way, wait, why'd you skip the rest of that shit? Hold on. I know this is annoying, but NATO's requirement makes it unlikely that Ukraine could gain membership in the foreseeable future because Russia has invaded part of its territory and it has a border dispute there and the Russian-controlled area in Moldova. Washington's pushing this possibility could boost Ukrainian resolve while leading Russia to redouble its efforts to forestall such a development. So there's a plus and a minus. It's almost as if they're doing this thing.
For Ukraine. It's every fucking thing they've said in this paper we've done.
No, we haven't. Like, we literally haven't.
Just a coincidence, Jimmy.
Craig, an increase in U.S. security assistance to Ukraine would likely lead to a commensurate increase in both Russian aid to the separatists and Russian military forces in Ukraine, thus sustaining the conflict at a somewhat higher level of intensity.
I love how it's like he's discovering this. They're gaming the entire thing. Okay. Increase in U.S. security assistance. An increase in U.S. security assistance. Hold on. God damn it. Why is this? Open up, you bastard. Hold on. Why will it not? I guess you have to go back to page 1. Oh. I wish you would put fucking page numbers on this shit. Because I can't tell if they're talking about, because it looks like they're talking about in the event of a fight, what do you do in the event of a fight? Because it's a fucking 354-page document. Bulgaria. Fourth option is to expand LNG import facilities. I don't think he's going to cover this part. A fourth option is to expand LNG import facilities. There are two basic types of infrastructure-related LNG: liquefaction facilities, which supply the market, and regasification facilities, which receive the supply. Particular type of regasification facility. Yeah. So we wanted the LNG program so much that we didn't want to do the fourth option, I guess. On the other side of the market, export capacity has expanded. The way that exports are sold has also changed the way the adds flexibility to the market. But God damn it. On and on. Second, Europe would also need more gas storage, especially near the areas of high demand. Storages. Yeah, so they obviously didn't plan for that part. Good Lord.
They're literally planning out how to do a war.
No, they aren't. Well, that's what the Rand Corporation does. They game out the possibilities. What happens? If this happens, then this happens. What happens if this happens? That's what they're paid to do. There's also a group going, all right, how do we not do it? State Department, for example. The Army fixes on a war. All right, if there is a war, what does it look like? How do we get fixed? Is he going to read any State Department diplomacy stuff about how to increase treaties? No.
Go ahead.
I was listening to the Oliver Stone Putin interviews last night.
Well, this dude's Pornhub search results are fucked up.
And it was so funny because everything traces back to U.S. escalation.
Well, no, that's everything Oliver Stone says is traced back to that.
He's discussing the fact that, the U.S. pulled out of the ballistic missiles agreement we had, and if they do something, we're going to have an equal and counter response. And Oliver Stone asked Putin, hypothetically, if there was a war in your territory between Western proxies and you guys, who would the U.S. win? And Putin just said no. They would not win. Now we all knew this was going to happen. Putin said it. Rand said it.
What the fuck do you think he's going to say?
Burns said it.
By the way, if you ask Vladimir Putin if in a war with any country in the world, if China waged war on Russia, and we know this won't happen, whatever, do you think China would win? What the fuck do you think Putin's going to say?
They all knew this, but
have a contest for subscribers. Okay, Julie, that's a good idea.
Just going to make a bunch of money for the MIC.
Mm-hmm.
The military-industrial complex. Yeah.
And by the way, the nuclear treaty that was
the military-industrial complex of Turkey, and in the case of Russia, Iran and North Korea.
That was trying to be extended when Tulsi Gabbard was trying to extend it. Guess who shot it down? Liz Cheney and Seth Moulton.
I just want to show you, this is my last thing I'll show you on this, to show you how much they don't give a shit about people. So
this is the part you like?
Such escalation might...
Hold on. Alternatively, Russia might counter-escalate, committing more troops and pushing them deeper into Ukraine. Such escalation might extend Russia. Eastern Ukraine is already a drain. Taking more of Ukraine might over-increase the burden, albeit at the expense of Ukrainian people.
Extend Russia. Eastern Ukraine is already a drain. Taking more of Ukraine might only increase the burden, albeit at the expense of the Ukrainian people.
Yeah, but Putin doesn't give a fuck.
Hey, so the Ukrainian people are going to get effed in this. But, you got to break a few eggs, huh?
No, all right. Oh, God, this is so annoying and boring and stupid. Ugh. All right. Wait, where's this one? Okay, hold on. Grab this. Clear that out. Do this. Such escalation might. Where is it? Oh, why won't you search better, stupid PDF stuff. Mac is far better. PC, what is wrong with you, PC? Like, God damn it. Okay, hold on. Search. Hold on. Okay, turn at the inspector. All right, God damn it. Alternatively, again, he's talking from mid-battle stuff. So they go through 4 possible options. They game all 4 options out for the best case scenario. They go, if this happens, it'd be bad, but this would be worse. If this part might work, but if it'll be at this cost. That's the language of these fucking documents. Mm-hmm. I'll give you an example. Let's just give you an example of what I'm talking about here. Let me blow this up a little bit. This is, if I was just to needle drop this document, check this piece out, just this paragraph, this section. Posturing fighters close to Russia's borders could have effects similar to posturing bombers at more distant bases, but would carry greater risk. U.S. and European leaders would be less inclined to position nuclear weapons at these locations because of the stability concerns their proximity would raise and the need to rotate the fighters among multiple locations. This would still confront Russia with a heightened conventional threat that could cause its leader to invest more in upgrading the IADS. However, with the fighters deployed to locations in range of much higher numbers of Russian ballistic and cruise missiles, Moscow might be inclined to rely more heavily on countering the fighter threat by striking those airfields, even if they are dispersed and the aircraft rotated among them. As in the bomber option, U.S. leaders might try to keep some percentage of fighters airborne throughout a crisis, but given the need for each aircraft to fly multiple sorties during a conventional conflict, Russian leaders would probably be confident that they could destroy a considerable number of fighters on the ground and shut down their deployment airfields early on with little or no addition to their missile inventory. Even if Moscow were to decide to add some number of missiles to its inventory, that response would probably be less expensive than upgrading its IADS, offering the United States little benefit in return for the increased risk of crisis instability. Repositioning BMD assets in Europe, like this is what they do. The whole fucking document is this fucking ping pong match of if we do this, this might happen. Alternatively, taking some of these things might lead to this. And if you do this, there's a chance of this. It's just all like this whole fucking paper should just be called for your consideration. And Jimmy thinks that by actively selecting elements of it and ignoring the parts that are mitigatory against those measures, they're calling for those measures outright.
Sell some liquefied natural gas to Europe. Huh?
Well, option 4 is to just do that instead.
So they know who they're punishing, and they don't give a shit because it's not them.
No, it's telling you that doing this and this, taking more of Ukraine might only increase the burden, albeit at the expense of the Ukrainian people. That's Russia making that decision. Because eastern Ukraine is already a drain. And taking on Ukraine, taking more land would be an even bigger burden, which it ultimately was at the expense of the Ukrainian people, which they don't give a fuck about.
They said we're going to fight to the last Ukrainian, by the way, and they are.
I gotcha. The Russians also said they would wipe out the existence of Ukrainians from the fucking map forever, from history. They don't exist.
They even said it. They even know. They go, such a move might also come at a significant cost to Ukraine and the U.S. prestige and credibility. This could produce disproportionately large Ukrainian casualties, territorial losses, and refugees. All of that is happening.
No, it isn't. They just regained a lot of the territory. They never lost the capital. The refugees largely returned, except the ones who are down in the Donbass specifically, where the Russians took the territory.
It might even lead Ukrainian into a disadvantageous peace.
Right. Meaning having to give up more land to Ukraine than they are, or to Russia than they already have. And by the way, he thinks disadvantageous peace is like an oxymoron, is the idea, which is like, look, sure, you got raped, but you did get shot. And so you got, a gun held to your head, but it could have been worse. You could have been in a shallow grave.
And that is happening now, too, because there was a potential for peace in April, and the West killed it.
No, he didn't. And he's talking about Boris Johnson nonsense. There was no such thing. That's just goofy.
And now Russia is like, hey, we're done. You had your chance to negotiate. Now we're just going to do it the way we're going to bomb your infrastructure. We're going to take out your power. We're going to fuck you up now.
Yeah, which is what you do to Nazis.
We gave you a chance.
We gave you a chance, and now we're going to do what we were always going to do. Why don't you just let us take over your country? We're the kind of people who will just bomb your infrastructure for not letting us take it. I don't understand this shit at all.
And you kept listening to NATO, and you wouldn't negotiate, and now you're going to pay the price. Who? Ukraine. The people of Ukraine.
I think he thinks he's saying something.
Anything you like to add before we say goodbye?
Yeah, no, I don't. These folks, I want to hear what these assholes kick in at the, this was always meant to be a way. Where's Kurt? Kurt didn't write any jokes on a piece of paper for you?
Yeah. Just remember when Bojo said no to Zelensky back then in April. That's what I'm remembering.
That's what he's talking about. Boris Johnson, talked him out of the peace deal by saying, and this was the way they supposedly talked, like, if you guys make a deal with Russia, we're not going to make a deal with Russia. We're still going to view it as an abject war that they declared on you. So we're not going to ease up. Secondly, we don't trust them. Neither should you.
When who said no?
Boris Johnson, fucko.
Bojo, Boris Johnson. They said they wanted
yes.
to negotiate a peace agreement. Boris Johnson went over there, but there was so many people that said no. It wasn't just Boris Johnson.
Right.
Yes, the entire West was going, are you out of your fucking mind? They just invaded you. Don't let them salami slice across your country. They're going to take more territory later. They have said they want to wipe you off the map.
It was everybody.
Why wouldn't people just let Germany take Poland, set up Auschwitz, and call it a day?
Biden said no. Bojo said no. So it's
and what's the more believable thing? That maybe those folks don't want Ukrainians to be wiped off the map, or that the people who say openly they want to destroy Ukraine are actually the heroes in this story.
It's a shame because the Ukrainian people, and is this any different than what they did to in Afghanistan when they pumped a bunch of money into the Mujahideen to fight the Russians to drain them? We have a history of doing this.
Yes, it's very different.
Contra.
Iran-Contra is not the same thing.
We don't care.
Rando government conspiracy things. Iran-Contra was an illegal action by a single U.S. president. It wasn't fucking policy.
We don't give a damn.
We don't give a damn. We don't care. If we cared, we wouldn't have supplied arms to the Mujahideen at the time and just let Russia destroy 75% of the towns and villages in Afghanistan.
This is what we do.
The only difference is Ukraine's about to have a very cold winter.
Yes.
As is all of Europe.
Yes, totally. A very cold winter. They're going to be burning their own children for heat while the Russians party like it's Moscow.
I wonder when these people are going to stand up against this shit. They're just
why won't they? They are standing up, fucko.
letting their leaders do this, and everyone sees what's happening.
Do they? Do they all see what's happening? Or are you guys in a circle jerk thinking you're getting laid?
It's nuts. Ukraine is if you're pro-Ukraine war, you're a dupe, and you're drinking propaganda.
All right. I guess that's all of us. And by the way, I don't know anybody that's pro-Ukraine war. I'm pro-Ukraine in this war. I would argue even at this point, I am anti-Russia, considering how they are. Nobody's pro-Ukraine war. Except Jimmy, of course, who wants Russia to win, along with this fucker. And I don't even know the other dude's new. I don't know who he is. But he just seems to be like the stunt Kurt Metzger in this situation. Like, say something vaguely like a like a chip of shit out of a pile of manure from some right-wing pro-Russian YouTube video that he watched, that he half watched. And he's like, there's something about, you know what I mean? Like, how dare we even, I mean, am I right? Like Snowden, that kind of shit.
All right, everybody, check out our friend Craig Pasta on the Convo Couch. And
The Convo Couch. Is that like the casting couch, but boring? It's worse. I came to audition and he made me sit down on the couch and bored the shit out of me. This is not what I thought was going to happen.
his new morning show, what's it called?
It's called AM Wake Up.
AM.
It's called AM Wake Up. and you worked on that. That's what's the thing called that you do that I don't give a fuck about? Your head's blocking the name of your show. What's the thing you do that there's a thing you do, right? You're always, we want to give you a big shout out. What was the, just plug anything you want. Let me eat a,
AM Wake Up. All right. And everybody check out The Dive with Jackson Hinkle.
yeah, he'll be with the Lyndon LaRouche crowd arguing for sovereign citizens' right to squat in people's homes while they're still there. It's sort of like the BTK killer if he was a real estate agent.
And tonight he's going to be interviewing Alex Stein. So everybody.
Is that the bastard son of Alex Jones and Jill Stein? I can't wait.
Check that out.
Yeah, totally. I'm going to do it. Let me be abundantly clear. None of that was valuable conversation at all. It made no impact on the circumstances. He didn't. None of the people watch the show. And again, Jimmy has 1 million YouTube subscribers. 1 million. Yes, this is me guilting you into subscribing. 1 million. Nah, I'm kidding. It's like 500,000 or something, isn't it? I don't know. Anyways, point being, Russell Brand, all these guys, they get a shit ton of views. Now, are they legit views? Are they real people? Or are they bot views? Hard to say. I would argue they're largely puffery. A lot of like Russian watch farms. Seriously. But that piece, the occasion that we dip into that stuff is, I think got some value for our dear friend Carlos Alazraqui, who does the Lord's work on Twitter, fucking with Jimmy all the time because Jimmy does his whole we live in a uniparty system, two legs in the same pair of pants, blah diddy blah diddy fucky blah. And then let me see 1 second real quick. There's going to be a okay. Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm trying to find something real quick for you. I'll have to find it later. We'll reference it back. I don't want to talk about it until I actually have it. So the next thing up is, of course, there's a huge drop off from Fox News down to Newsmax. That's a full cliff. If you're climbing a mountain and you're right at the edge, you're gonna make it, and then your hands slip and you fall. The next ledge you hit, it's far enough down where you're gonna break a leg. That's Newsmax. If you fall off the next one, you're just a lump of flesh. And you end up at Real America's Voice /OAN. If you fall off that cliff, you're a strawberry milkshake on Flashpoint. And this is David Brody, host of The Water Cooler on Real America's Voice. Now, Real America's Voice co-airs on Lindell TV. And The Water Cooler is supposed to be like the chit-chat show about we're starting conversations. This is the this is the I'm a bot smoker. Thanks, Mark. This is the things that we're going to start a conversation at work. So people are going to watch RAV and then they're going to go, hey, did you know? Right next to the water cooler, right before everyone leaves and doesn't talk to them anymore. Now, they always have these kind of ads, but that's rigged audio, I think. So I can't tell. It could also be the main Nazi who his head melts in Raiders. Okay.
It is Tuesday, September 20th, 2022.
Very exciting. And this is the best graphic they could come up with. Fairy tales do come true. The great MAGA king. And it's a smiley thing. And he's got a crown on. Already, that's fucked up. Even more so, aesthetically, I'm just saying, let me shrink this down so you can see the whole fucking thing. Breakdown, everybody do. Okay, this is look at the framing on this. I know I'm the only one who gives a shit about this. You couldn't make a rectangle for this space up here, just like square, and then there's this jacked up nothing space later. And they don't, why don't they make you bigger and move this over? Never mind, nobody gives a fuck.
And it is true. Fairy tales do come true.
Uh-oh.
Fairy tale
Do come true. It could happen to you. I'm not going to source UMG. I'm not going to get a fucking strike.
If you're young at heart, or you're out to get the 45th president of the United States.
Oh, I see. So it's a fairy tale that you're going to be able to get him. But it's also true? What?
And this isn't a happy fairy tale.
No, it's a scary tale. That's what happened. Hold on one second. If I may, hold on one second. I love this show. Yeah, this is a scary tale. Okay, this is a story that puts it that I, as a huge Trump supporter, and I don't need this. This is the kind of story that if you read this to me when I'm going to sleep, I will pee the bed. Okay, I will, and not in a fun way, not in a Moscow hotel kind of way, if you know what I'm saying.
Downright ugly one. Actually,
Oh, it's a what? What'd you say? What did he say? Did he say something about me? Did he say something?
let me get more specific.
Please do, because I don't. Whole things.
This is an ugly fairy tale.
Could you please stop?
Concocted by liberals, determined to take down Donald Trump.
Oh no, they're not going to do it. It won't work. Tell
the
them.
MAGA king.
The MAGA king will not be dethroned in a democracy.
Short, they see it as a plot to take down this MAGA king.
They do?
Here's the latest.
Oh, it's amazing. This is the latest. Amazon smart plugs are $4.99. Get out of here. Is that a sale? Oh my God. Where's my purse? I need to get it. Honey. Yeah. You know how you want to automate the giant. I'm sorry to interrupt you. It's just scream at the employees later. Listen. Amazon smart plugs. They're having a sale. And you know our big inflatable Trump that goes in the yard that scares all the yeah, we could have that on a timer and just have it go on. Yeah, I think you were talking about automating it, triggering it so whenever it just starts blowing whenever Rachel Maddow's on. I think it's Mondays, but I don't want to find out.
The news reports, quote,
that is some graphic. Look at that. That's beautiful. See, I got to hang up. I'm there. This is amazing over here. The quality of RAV just went through the goddamn roof.
A Republican on the House Judiciary Committee said Monday
That's a lot of text. I don't know that I'm going to be able to get through all that. That's a lot.
Whistleblower has come forward detailing how the FBI is manipulating cases related to the January 6th Capitol riot to create the illusion.
Wait a minute. They called it a riot? Are they? I don't even think they're really MAGA.
That domestic violent extremism is a widespread problem in the United States.
Ugh.
Representative Jim.
It's obviously not. Now it's a lot of loco lone wolves and my cousin.
Jordan said in a letter to FBI Director Chris Wray that the manipulative case file practice was being conducted by the Bureau's Washington field office, which was instructing local FBI offices to open up cases on their books that were in fact simply related to the Capitol breach.
It's terrible. Just open up cases, even if there's nothing to put in the folder. It's like those empty folders they found at Mar-a-Lago.
Quote, the FBI's case categorization creates the illusion that threats from...
Thank God he's reading this, because I could never... That's just, I don't know, it looks like a whole... It's like a beehive full of words. What's happening there? Like, it's just... You can't... When you create the graphic, you can't do this in chunks or something? Like, why are you... Are we getting a direct shot of his teleprompter? What is happening?
DVE are present in jurisdictions across the nation, when in reality, they all stem from the same related investigation concerning the actions at the Capitol on January 6th.
Yeah, and it's not like Gen 6ers are from all over the country.
Jordan wrote, quote, such an artificial case categorization scheme allows FBI leadership to misleadingly point to significant increases in DVE threats nationwide.
Domestic violence events, extremism, domestic violent extremism. So it makes it look like there's more of it than there is, because so many of them came from all over the country to the Capitol and then went back home, and they've all calmed down. It's fine.
Why?
It's fine.
He added, yes, to get the king, he needs cohorts.
Yes, that's how they got Humpty Dumpty.
Dastardly cohorts.
Oh my God, those are the worst kind of cohorts. It's second worst. Fourth worst. The fourth worst. Yeah. I mean, obviously, domestically violent cohorts would be the worst. No offense.
So you must demonize them as well.
Terrible. How dare they? How dare they demonize them? I got demonized. Don't demonize me. Never.
But as we know by now, the evil characters in this story are...
I feel seen.
...are going directly after this king.
Well, that's because he already went, so anybody doing this would come after.
We now have evidence from a popular lawyer.
A popular lawyer? Perry Mason?
Who, by the way, is not a Trump fan.
Well, that could be anybody.
Saying that a George Soros...
Wait, popular TikTok lawyer?
Soros-backed foundation offered him money to go up on social media with an anti-Trump propaganda post.
That's horrifying. Popular TikTok lawyer says... hold on. I got to get somebody in here who can look at this. Give me a second. So the popular TikTok lawyer, first of all, what a fucking dumb sentence that is. Well, popular TikTok lawyer says, this should be enough. Yeah, here you go. Popular TikTok lawyer says Soros-backed foundation offered money for anti-Trump propaganda posts. That's this from Brittany Bernstein. An attorney with a popular TikTok account says the Good Information Foundation, a nonprofit focused on fighting disinformation, offered to pay him $400 to make an anti-Donald Trump propaganda post related to the January 6th investigation that is completely not true. I should start this out video by saying I am not a Donald Trump supporter, so that would give a little bit of context to where I'm coming from. Preston Moore said in a video post on TikTok over the weekend where he shares screenshots of the alleged communication, explains that he got an email from the Good Information Foundation, which is led by Rick Stengel, former Undersecretary of State during the Obama administration, offering $400 for an Instagram post related to January 6th. After saying it was open to collaboration, he says the group sent him an email including important notes and key messaging that should be included in the post. Remind your followers about the images and scenes from the January 6th insurrection. It then offered an example of what he might say. You probably saw this green screen of the January 6th violence happen, but what a lot of people don't know is that the violence on January 6th was actually planned and paid for by Trump Republicans. Talk about many aspects of their plan and the broad involvement of Trump. For example, email, okay, blah, blah, blah. Another point in the email, okay, Moore said, most importantly, the foundation said that He must channel all of this onto the manipulation of voter agencies so I could turn their anger around this event into defiance that would make people more likely to vote in midterms. What is the basis for claiming the Trump campaign itself paid millions of dollars to make the January 6th seat at the Capitol? He responded, seat at the Capitol? You mean siege at the Capitol? Foundation seemingly ignored the question in its alleged response, saying he didn't have to say that if he didn't want to. Sure, I'm just wondering if there's support for that claim. Let me know if you're interested and the rate works for you. Important notes that it say criminal conspiracy, that Moore said his video was not interested after learning more about the foundation, wanted him to include in the post. This is good. This is the good info for foundation. They boast on their homepage, the good information is the lifeblood of democracy. They further cry that we are in an information crisis. You know, the crazy thing, we're right. Okay, National Root reached out for them for comment. Okay, yeah, the idea is that they didn't go into, like, Mike Lindell paid money. He's a MAGA Republican. He got people there. Jenny Thomas worked with an organization. The fucking Proud Boys bust people there. That's what they're talking about. The fucking, like, postings about this shit. He could have looked that up, but he wanted their information because he was obviously leaning that way.
Name is Preston Moore, and he says the liberal organization is going to pay him $400.
Oh my God, $400
to publish the anti-Trump post.
And he's like, I won't lie that way for at least $1,200.
Have a look for yourself.
I was just offered $400.
Touche, GQP Republican.
To make an anti-Donald Trump propaganda post related to the January 6th investigation that is completely not true. I should
that is completely not true.
Start out this video by saying I'm not a Donald Trump supporter, so that should give a little bit of context to where I'm coming from.
You're a Ron DeSantis supporter, I suppose, or a pro-MAGA supporter, but you don't like Trump.
Turning at post-legal news and analysis on related topics. Okay.
Related topics. Now, I don't have TikTok, and I'm not going to get TikTok because it's Chinese malware. I'm not kidding. So, anyways, well, so I'm not going to look up what he. But maybe we can find a conversation about him, or like a at trial by Preston. I suppose he's on Twitter too, or Getter, or something like that. Discover his discover trial by let's see. He does related issues. He was asked to pay the news, political, legal, conservative women, conservative TikTok, democratic TikTok. He just throws the words. The trial by Preston. Unsealed. The court unsealed it. Documents. Conservative. Trump warrant had no legal basis, is the argument he's making here, according to who?
Where other people just see the headline, the Trump warrant had...
Yeah, let's just... Shit, that's loud. Hold on. Trial attorney reacts. Trump warrant had no legal... Okay, let's hear it.
No legal basis. I see my former employer, because the guy that wrote that legal analysis is a partner at the Washington, D.C. office of one of the country's biggest law firms. So to anybody in the legal world, believe me when I say this is no chump change analysis. And that's surprising to me because his take is like categorical. His view goes like this. The warrant authorized the FBI to seize all physical documents and records that were illegally possessed in violation of 3 U.S. code laws, all of which relate to the handling of information that contains national security data. The timeline was exactly 4 years, January 20th, 2017 to January 20th, 2021, which is the exact term of Trump's term of office, but that none of these statutory bases can be rightly applied to Trump because it's a long-held principle under U.S. law that a specific statute that relates to an individual will trump a general one. And the specific statute, the Presidential Records Act, would provide Trump, and anyone for that matter, ongoing access to presidential records even after they're out of office. So the bottom line conclusion, in a word, if the Justice Department's sole complaint is that Mr. Trump had in his possession presidential records he took with him from the White House, he should be in the clear even if some of those records are classified. And more interestingly, I thought, in this case, it appears that...
Okay, this is why they would reach out to him, because he seems to be on the side of Trump took this stuff.
The FBI was initially satisfied with
That's why they reached out to him.
Installation of an additional lock on the relevant Mar-a-Lago storage room, indicated by the fact that 3 days elapsed between the issuance of this warrant and the execution of it, tending to undermine the government's claim that there was some particularly time-sensitive nature to recovering these documents. But he goes on, if that was insufficient and Mr. Trump refused to cooperate, the Bureau could and should have sought a less intrusive judicial remedy than a search warrant.
We saw this paper already.
A restraining order allowing the materials to be moved.
Okay, hold on. Whoops, I need this. There we go.
The story. So first thing first, I get an email from somebody with the Good Info Foundation. We'll talk about them a little more in a minute. I'm going to refer to this person as Jane.
We just looked at this.
Jane sent me a message letting me know she represented the Good Info Foundation and that she was willing to offer a paid collaboration to discuss some topics related to January 6th. I said, sure, why not? I'll learn some more. Jane says the Good Info Foundation will give me $400 to make a post on my page and then share it to Instagram. So you see that blue link? All right, here we're going to follow it. These are the specific requirements in order to obtain that $400 of how I should refer to the January 6th Capitol raid. Number one, I must call this a criminal conspiracy. Number two, I must say Trump Republicans were responsible. Number three, I must frame.
Yeah, well, there were no non-Trump Republicans attacking on that day, just for the record. The only Republicans that were a part of that mass were Trump Republicans.
As an attack on my country, an attack on America or Americans, a criminal conspiracy and a committed crime. I must attribute the matter to MAGA Republicans. I must make clear that this was ongoing and unresolved. And most importantly, that I must channel all of this.
Also, why is this somehow... Well, I mean, I know why this is up. This is coming up now, is because the idea that the Good Info organization that is Soros somehow backed, this is supposed to run as cover for what's happening with Letitia James and the ongoing. The January 6th committee has just announced their next date.
Unto the manipulation of voter agencies so that I could turn their anger around this event into defiance that would make people more likely to vote in midterms. And the thing that struck me the most was this part, where I was told to talk about the aspects of the Trump campaign's plan. And I was supposed to say that the Trump campaign...
Now, I can't see what this says. Key messaging for your own use or your own, in your own words. Okay.
Literally.
I can't, it's hard for me to read the smaller type on this. And because the way they're sharing it is, I would argue, is intentional. And they're not, you and I can't look at this document.
Millions.
Hold on. I looked at I went to his page. Yeah, this guy right here. Hold on one second. Let me slide this over here and see if I can find the other one. Trial President. This is the...
I was just offered $400 to make an anti-Donald Trump propaganda post related to the January 6th investigation that is completely not true. I should start out this video by saying I'm not a Donald Trump supporter.
No,
so
go away.
I should give a little bit. Get an email from somebody with the Good Info Foundation.
Right, we saw that part. Okay, so holding here. If any of the videos listed above do not fit your messaging, go here for more. Important notes. Core deliverables. 1 by 50 seconds TikTok video, repost video, and Instagram Reels. I said, okay. Good Info Foundation is here. Good Info Foundation. There's a piece missing at the top of the paper, but say Trump Republicans, not Trump and his allies. Important notes. Say January 6th investigation, or not hearing or trial. This is an attack on America, or America not, or an attack on a criminal conspiracy to talk about MAGA Republicans, etc. Make clear that this is ongoing, unprecedented, unresolved, and not done. That's what he just said. Show voter agency, turn the anger into defiance. And then there was a piece right here. Where is it? He was almost...
Where I was told to talk about the aspects of the...
Key messaging in your own words. Remind your followers about the images and scenes from January 6th. Example, you probably saw this green screen of January 6th. You're going to talk about the many aspects of their plan and their broad implementation of Trump.
Say that the Trump campaign
involvement of Trump individuals. Example,
paid literally millions of dollars to make January 6th happen.
Yeah, that actually did happen. They, hold on one second. The Trump campaign spent advertising. Okay, sorry. Trump campaign paid for Jan 6 advertising. Yeah, so well, the Trump, yeah, so campaign finance filings released in June of 2020 show the operation paid more than $1.4 million in May alone to Event Strategies, a firm named in the permit for the January 6th rally that also employed 2 individuals involved in the demonstration. The bulk of those payments came directly from Trump's Save America Leadership PAC, the pro-Trump Make America Great Again Incorporated Super PAC, and the NRCC also reported continue to pay Event Strategies Inc. through May. Groups aligned with Trump have paid about $5.4 million to Event Strategies this year and more than 13.1 since the 2016 election cycle. Event Strategies was helmed by Tim Unez and Justin Chaparral. I'm just calling the Justin the Chaparral kid. Trump campaign aides listed on permit records on January 6 rally stage and production managers. Unez was reportedly brought to Trump's campaign by Paul Manafort, who served as the campaign chair after his prior work with Event Strategies Incorporated for pro-Russian Ukrainian politician Viktor Yanukovych. So this guy's like, I don't know. Did they? Yes, they did.
So I figured, maybe I missed something. So
You did miss something.
I said, hey, Jane, what is the basis for the claim that the Trump campaign itself paid millions of dollars to make the January 6th siege of the Capitol happen?
The money that they paid to get everyone there. He's going to say they didn't pay for people's tennis shoes to walk from the stage. It's just advertising and busing and all kinds of stuff to get people there from all over the fucking country. He didn't pay for the siege. That was extra. I'm not paying to fuck her. I'm paying for her time. Right.
Jane,
It's the Matt Gaetz defense.
doesn't answer the question. Hi, Preston. If you don't want to state that in the video, it's fine. You don't have to use all the bullet points provided. So I kept going. Sure, I'm just wondering if there's support for that claim. Jane doesn't answer again. Let me know if you are interested and the rate works for you. Thanks so much. I'm not interested and the rate doesn't work for me. This is the Good Info Foundation. They boast on their homepage that good information is the lifeblood of a democracy. They
Right.
further cry that we are in an information crisis.
Right. Apparently, you can't even do a simple fucking Google search or go to Open Secrets. They paid Event Strategies, who made January 6 happen, to make January 6 happen. And then they kept paying them after. Fuck you, dude. They're going to keep playing this shit. I mean, honestly, try and make my job harder, will you?
Dollars to make January 6th
Is this really happen? Is he just going to play this fucking
So I
thing?
figured, answer the question.
Yeah.
And then have the
Preston, if you don't want to state that in the video, it's fine. You
Well,
don't
I
on
don't.
the king.
the bullet points provided.
And so this is how it works.
That's how it works. They talk to a bunch of TikTokers and influencers, and some of them balk at the money and don't like doing any research. Hal, check the chat. Check the chat. What's the chat? What's happening? I'm checking the chat. What's happening? Hi. I'm checking it, Liz Dog. What's happening? Hal, breaking news. Read your dang chat. What's the breaking news? I am seeing it. There is okay. Oh, the 11th Circuit just ruled. Thank you. I'm checking the chat. Just tell me to check the chat. Okay, 11th Circuit. Okay, let me see. Hold on. Now I'm going to have to go to Twitter for it, aren't I? Hold on. Breaking. There it is. Thank you. Okay, got it. Breaking. A 3-judge panel of the 11th Circuit has granted the DOJ's motion for a partial stay. God damn it. Get back up here. This is the whole thing. Hold on. I got to bring this up too. There we go. 3-judge panel of the 11th Circuit has granted the DOJ's motion for a partial stay, allowing them to continue using classified material seized from Mar-a-Lago as part of their criminal investigation. I guess they followed what the special master said, which is there's nothing here. Per curiam. Following the execution of a search warrant at the residence of plaintiff appellee, he's appealing, he's an appellee. Former President, I love that part, Donald J. Trump, plaintiff, moved for the appointment of a special master to review the documents that defend an appellant the United States seized. The district court granted that motion in substantial part. Now, the United States moves for a partial stay in the district court's orders as it relates to the roughly 100 documents bearing classification markings. We decide only the narrow question presented, whether the United States has established that it is entitled to the stay of the district's court order to the extent that it, 1, requires the government to submit for the special master's review the documents with classification markings, and enjoins the United States from using the subset of documents, enjoins the United States from using that subset of documents in a criminal investigation. We conclude that it has. Whether the United States has established that it is entitled to a stay of the order, it has. They've granted a stay. 2 of the 3 judges were appointed by Donald Trump. Rosenbaum was from Obama, but Grant and Brasher were Trump appointees. For our part, we cannot discern why plaintiff would have an individual interest in or need for any of the 100 documents with classification markings. Exactly. The fuck does he need them for? If they were declassified, he can get a copy like anybody else through a FOIA request. If they aren't, the fuck's he doing with them? Classified documents are marked to show they are classified, for instance, with their classification level. All right. Classified National Security Information Executive Order number 13526, 3 CFR 298-301, 23 Skidoo, reprinted in 50 USC 3161. They are, quote, owned by and produced by or for or under the control of the United States government. They include information, the unauthorized disclosure of which could reasonably be expected to cause an identifiable or describable damage to the national security. For this reason, a person may have access to classified information only if, among other requirements, he, quote, has a need to know the information. This requirement pertains equally to former presidents unless the current administration, in its discretion, chooses to waive the requirement, meaning that he can only see it if Biden lets him. Plaintiff has not even attempted to show that he has a need to know the information contained in the classified documents. He's not even attempted. He doesn't need to know it. The people that he's selling them to need to know it. Nor has he established that the current administration has waived that requirement for these documents. Yes, that's not going to happen. Even if it had, that in and of itself would not explain why the plaintiff has an individual interest in the classified documents. In sum, given the long-recognized compelling interest in protecting the secrecy of information important to our national security, SNEP v. United States, we conclude the United States would suffer irreparable harm from the district court's restrictions on its access to this narrow and potentially critical set of materials. Basically, fuck you, Judge Cannon, is what they're saying, as well as the court's requirement that the United States submit the classified records to the special master for review. So letting some jackhole rifle through them, like, that's so fun. It's useless. It's so funny. Can't drop clown emojis in filings before the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 11th Circuit, so DOJ uses italics in Trump v. USA instead. That's funny. Instead, plaintiff again implies that he could have declassified the records before leaving office. As before, however, plaintiff conspicuously fails to represent, much less show, that he actually took that step. And plaintiff is now resisting the special master's proposal that he identify any records he claims to have declassified and substantiate those claims with evidence. In any event, plaintiff's effort to raise questions about declassification status is a red herring. As the government has explained, even if plaintiff could show that he declassified records at issue, there would be no justification for restricting the government's use of evidence at the center of an ongoing criminal investigation. Again, plaintiff offers no response. relief bore the burden of proof. Yet, despite multiple opportunities, plaintiff has never actually represented, as much less offered evidence, that he declassified any of the relevant records. To the contrary, after persuading the district court to grant injunctive relief and appoint a special master to adjudicate purportedly disputed issues about the record status, A6 and A7, plaintiff has now reversed course. In response to the special master's invitation to identify any records he claims to have declassified and offer evidence to support such claims, plaintiff objected to disclosing specific information regarding declassification to the court and the government, because that would take away his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination, because the only information he could proffer would be that he didn't do it. If he said he did and lied, his lawyers would lose their license. He would go to jail. They're not going to offer false evidence. So if he tells the truth, he admits to a crime, and so he is now taking the fifth, by proxy. What a jackass. Plaintiff not even attempted to show that he is needed to know the information contained in the classified documents, nor has he established that they would. Yeah, okay, that's the part we just looked at. That's just funny. Biden DOJ files emergency motion with 11 circuits. Say that was their motion. Trump has statutory right to take deny. What is this? First sentence proves DOJ still has willful misunderstanding of presidential records. Yeah, Mike, that didn't turn out to be the case. Granted, breaking state granted 11 circuits. Has been saying the law did not support the treatment of the classified docs. Yeah. What a dummy. That's so fun. By the way, Mueller, She Wrote does great work explaining a bunch of this stuff. If you don't follow her, I recommend it. Like their podcast is amazing. They started up around the Mueller investigation, and they've just been on this shit. It's been great. Here it is. That's the more to come. Yeah, so she's reading through this right now like everybody else is. Following excuse, read the full 29-page ruling. You know I'm going to do it. I got to do it now. Got to do it. Get this out of here. Down a little bit. Hold on. This is you can tell what part everybody. They break down the whole thing. They explain the story too. On that date, plaintiff asked for another extension of time and informed the National Archives that if it declined to grant the extension, he would make a protective assertion of executive privilege over the documents, which doesn't exist. That letter noted that President Biden had deferred to the National Archives' determination that executive privilege did not apply. Despite this advance warning, plaintiff made no effort to block the FBI's access to the documents at that time. This motherfucker doesn't care until it's too late. The FBI also, this is basically, they're retyping the affidavit. There you go. And they reference it, which they got to see. An FBI informed a magistrate judge of the evidence that had developed. Magistrate judge agreed probable cause existed if the evidence of possible violations of the law would be found in the plaintiff's residence. Dude, they don't give a fuck you're a former president. Once the current president goes, there's no executive privilege here. You're just a dude standing in line waiting to kiss a girl who will avoid his nickel. All right. In accordance with protocol that the magistrate judge had approved in the search warrant, the department directed a privilege review team, which is, by the way, the special master team that was along with them, composed of agents not otherwise participating in the investigation, to review certain seized documents for attorney-client privilege. They did that. They put stuff separately. Yeah. They identified and segregated an initial subset of about 520 pages, not documents that might contain privileged material. Within the remaining documents, members of the investigative team found at least 2 instances of potentially privileged material, which they delivered to the privilege review team. That's it. Asking for one, appoint a special master and join further review of the seized documents. This is what he asked for. Regarding the jurisdiction, among other, plaintiff asserted that the district court could appoint a special master under its supervisory authority and its inherent power and could enjoin the government's review. Okay. Made 3 arguments. They go through the whole story. For the Rishi factor, that's what their argument was. Callous disregard for plaintiffs' constitutional rights. The district found no evidence that the United States had engaged in that type of behavior. As to the second factor, plaintiff's interest in and the need for seized property, the district court determined that plaintiff had an interest in at least some of the documents, like his medical documents, tax correspondence, and accounting information, but it made no finding that the plaintiff had a need for the classified documents. The third factor, the district court reasoned, weighed in favor of exercising jurisdiction because, in its view, plaintiff suffered a likelihood of irreparable injury in the form of improper disclosure of sensitive information to the public about his shitty health and his even worse financial state, and the threat of future prosecution and associated stigma when they find out that he's got 4th stage syphilis and there's a bunch of crimes in his taxes. Next, there's like, oh God, this is so funny. Next, the district court held the plaintiff had 4th Amendment standing to seek a special master because he potentially had possessory interest in the records. Yeah, no. Let's see. Finally, the district court enjoined the United States from further review and used the seized material of criminal investigative process, but allowed it to review the UK. But after they did this, as the executive privilege, the United States noted plaintiff had not asserted executive privilege in response to the May subpoena. Instead, he produced documents, and his custodian had certified that he had produced all the responsive documents. So he fucking lied. All right, hold on one second. I'm gonna bring these back up. Where are you? Get back up there, you crazy. Yeah, all right. In support of the position, the United States decided to go into a Senior Department of Religion. The plaintiff, look at this. Not only that, hold on. FBI is, quote, the only intelligence community element with a full suite of authorities and tools to investigate and recover any improperly retained and stored classified information in the United States. Again, DNI, CIA, others would get them if they were in the wind and outside the country. But since they're in the United States, those people can't act in the United States, so it's up to the FBI. The FBI has to go after this stuff inside the country. If they raided some place that he'd sold it in Saudi Arabia or Germany or Russia or any of that shit, they would have to send. The FBI would accompany them, but it would be other agencies. Not only that, but as a practical matter, Kohler explained, the same senior Department of Justice and FBI officials, such as Kohler, are ultimately responsible for supervising the criminal investigation for ensuring the FBI is coordinating appropriately with the rest of the intelligence community on its classification review and assessment. Plaintiff responded, but derp. Plaintiff responded by saying, write that down. All right. There still remains a disagreement as to the classification status of the documents. He emphasized that special master review was temporary and asserted he had a statutory right to access the documents. No. September 15th, district court denied a stay pending appeal, appointed a special master. That was canon. And explained the basis for the decision. They first reasoned it was not prepared to accept without further review by a special master that approximately 100 documents isolated by the government were classified government records. That next day, okay, blah, blah, they go through this. We directed the plaintiff to file an expedited response to the United States' motion for a partial stay. Plaintiff responded that, one, we lack jurisdiction over the order appointing a special master, even though it was appointed by a court under us, you fucking doofus. And he has Rule 41 standing that the United States has not proved that the documents were marked classified and are actually classified. Just because they're in folders that say top secret does not mean they're classified, okay? What's classified even mean? Everything's classified. I classify you as an asshole, Your Honor. But I'm not going to say that in court. Don't write that down. The district court properly balanced the harms in joining the United States. The other point. The United States replied that he's full of shit. We reviewed the parties' briefs and record. We We have appellate jurisdiction. So fuck you. We have standing, dum-dum. 2, 3. When deciding whether to grant or stay an pending appeal, we evaluate 4 factors. Whether the stay applicant has made a strong showing that he's likely to succeed on the merits. They did. Whether the applicant be irreparably injured absent a stay. That's what they said. The United States would be damaged by these classified documents being in the wind. Whether issuance of the stay would substantially injure the other party, and that's the United States of America, and that answer is yes. And where the public interest lies, which is, obviously folded into the other stuff. In this part, plaintiff argues that we, quote, lack jurisdiction to review the special master's authority, but our order does not address the special master's authority. It addresses the district court's orders as they require the United States to act and to refrain from acting. Nevertheless, we note that the district court enjoined the government from reviewing using the seized materials for investigating purposes pending completion of the special master's review in natural conjunction with the appointment of the special master. And our pendant jurisdiction allows us to address an otherwise non-appealable order, which is inextricably intertwined with an appealable decision. So even if you put them in charge and we're not in charge of what that person is doing, we are in charge of whether or not they're allowed to do it in the first place. You dipshit. After considering 4 factors, the United States has established a substantial likelihood of success on its merits. Oh, it's beautiful. And then 2, where is it? Second, they go through all of it. Where are we? The factor of plaintiff's personal interest or lack thereof in the documents also weighs against exercising jurisdiction. Third, Richie asks whether the plaintiff could be irreparably injured. We cannot conclude the plaintiff would be irreparably injured by a stay regarding the documents being marked classified. Like, if we don't take the classification seriously, the United States, the people of the United States, the national security of the United States might suffer irreparable harm. If we grant the stay, there is no reason why Trump would be injured by the issuance of the stay at all. It's not his shit. He's not, no harm, no foul on his side. He's got, obviously he can't sell them. Maybe he was planning on a big sale. The United States would suffer irreparable injury on absence day. We next consider the second, whether the U.S. would do it. We conclude that it would. Yeah. And then, they go through all of it. They're not fucking around, man. And here you go. Plaintiff has not shown he will suffer a substantial injury as a result of the limited stay. We next turn to the third Enkin factor, whether issuance of the stay will substantially injure the other parties interested in the proceeding. What the fuck would it bother him for? If they're his, he'll get them back. Always. It's just silly. Ask the fucking National Archives for the golf balls and fucking t-shirts. Nobody cares. Here we analyze whether plaintiff would be substantially injured by the stay. Largely reasons we have already discussed. We conclude that he would not. First, as we explained, plaintiff does not have a possessory interest in the documents at issue. They aren't his. So he does not suffer a cognizable harm if the United States reviews the documents he neither owns nor has a personal interest in. Fuck you. Third, because of the nature of the classified materials as is issued here and based on the record, we have no reason to expect the United States' use of those records imposes a risk of disclosure to the United States of plaintiff's privileged information. Given the limited scope of the stay, applying to only approximately 100 classified documents, we conclude that the plaintiff has not shown he will substantially injure by a stay. By the way, that's the review of the classified stuff. The public interest favors a stay. There you go. That's the last one, which it obviously does. There you go. Conclusion. In conclusion, for the reasons we have explained, we grant the stay pending appeal. The district court order is stayed to the extent it enjoins the government use of classified documents and requires the government to submit the classified documents to the special master for review. Let's see. It enjoins the government's use of classified documents and requires the government. Okay, it stops this to the extent it enjoins the government. So it stops this part. It stops the government having to stop them from reviewing them, and it stops them from having to give them to the special master for review. By the time they appeal, if they even make one, the documents will already be copied and reviewed. But they've got to be passed around to the agencies who can go through them and go, okay, this was in the wind, this detail was out, this detail was seen. If this detail was seen, it means this. If this, you know that RAND document that we were looking at before, what if this happens, then this happens, and then if this happens, then this happens. If this doesn't happen, then this happens. I'm sorry, it's going to be another 10 minutes to get his attention. Love you, Al. I'm sorry, I'm going through this, Lacey. You asked me to. Jeannie Thomas is going to appear before January 6th. This is a great day. Today is a great day. Can I just say today is a great day? It's a great day. Oh, boy. This is fun. This is getting fucking fun. Hold on. First on CNN, January 6th committee has come to an agreement with Ginny Thomas, wife of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, to be interviewed by the committee in the coming weeks. A source close to the committee tells Jamie Gangle. Mother of twins, CNN special correspondent, friend of Gabrielle Alone, married to #1 New York Times bestseller Daniel Silva, retweets not endorsements. Yeah. That's fun. Yeah, she broke this story. Hold on one second. Jamie Gangle on CNN broke this story just now. Oh, it's just fun. It's just fun. This is fun. I'm gonna let you guys go read the news. I gotta pack. I'm flying out at butt in the morning tomorrow to Chicago, and I'm very excited about it. I'm very excited. I'm very pleased. I'm gonna get back to you. I'm gonna get right back to you on that. I'm gonna get him a nice fruit basket. I'm gonna miss him. You guys are lovely, and I love you, and this is wonderful, and oh my gosh, so much stuff. And Hal, the question, will he really pay or get away with it again? Oh, he'll pay. Don't worry. It's all coming. It's all coming. And I told you, and I'll leave you with this, another Midwestern goodbye. Considering I'm going to the Midwest tomorrow, I think it's only appropriate. That if you're going to go after Trump without his nutcases killing a bunch of people, it's got to come in stages. And the realization that he's a con man who commits crimes against the country you love so dearly is getting harder and harder for them to ignore. The hardcore ones, the real last QAnon crowd, they were delusional to begin with. But anybody even remotely close to accepting that this dude was honest in any fucking thing he did is now heading for the hills. It's a stampede. And anybody left behind is going to be covered in his fucking goo. So this is all good stuff. But what you want is the vast majority of Republicans to start going, this DeSantis guy, because, I mean, ultimately, strategically, it's going to split the vote because there's a bunch of, we'll talk about that later. But ultimately, to keep the violence to a minimum, you have to convince these folks that they've been duped, at least to some degree. At least put a seed of doubt in their head before you lock them up. Because even though it's true, they're not listening. They're not paying attention. And you got to make them, you got to make it so they can't not think about him grifting from the Build the Wall organization and pardoning Steve Bannon and starting the January 6th thing and telling people to go down and organizing this fascistic attack on the Capitol and hang Mike Pence shit and all that stuff. And then that he was lying about how wealthy he is. He's a complete con man in that regard. And now that, he has no right to these classified documents, and he was lying the whole time about the declassification thing. So once those people, even if they don't fully buy in or espouse it or speak openly about how they're aware that it's true, part of their brain is going to be like, I don't know. And that's enough at least to keep them from being violent. Even if they're not bought in, even though they don't have to vote Democratic. They don't have to give a shit. I don't care. What you got to keep them from doing is another Oklahoma City. Okay? You got to keep them from storming capitals or shooting fucking governors and that kind of stuff. And if you'd grabbed him on January 7th or within 3 months of January 7th, a bunch of his people would have done that. And so would it have been right? Would it have been the law pure and simple? Yes, but it would have also resulted in more harm than good in terms of certain people's lives. So what you got to do is you got to go, okay, we got to let these people know why we're arresting him well before we do it, or his followers are going to fucking kill someone. That's what I've been telling you guys. That's why it has to happen this way. Because none of us need convincing. There's a bunch of even Republican-leaning independents that don't need convincing at this fucking point. It's the people who would pick up a gun or a knife or fucking drive their car into the front of a place or a nail gun and show up at the FBI office. Those are the people you have to convince. And again, this is that, making perfect the enemy of the good. Perfect would be locking him up on the 7th, right? But it wouldn't be good because people would die. And so it's going to take a while, and it's worth it. He is not worth the people they would kill. Do you understand? Throwing him in jail is not worth the deaths that would be caused by these lunatics who have fealty to him, who, if they weren't talked out of this lunacy to some degree, if the seed of doubt wasn't planted, they would hurt someone. Yeah, people need due process. That's exactly right, Dragon Slayer. This is a version of due process. The part of the process is convincing people, the public jury in this case, of his supporters, that he's been bullshitting them. And if you can do that, like I said, they're not gonna vote Democrat. They may not vote at all. But they won't harm anyone else. And those people's lives, the random person who's the receptionist at an FBI's office, her life is more important than jailing Trump. Do you understand? Because you want it to happen sooner. Anybody who's a victim of these lunatics, if you could have taken more time to convince them, to talk them off the fucking ledge where they were going to take people with them, is worth it. And it is working. In Florida, DeSantis is beating Trump in a head-to-head straw poll. It's flipped since the Mar-a-Lago search and seizure. Even though that happened in DeSantis' state. I am not, as a human being, willing to have innocent people die because lunatics haven't been talked off this ledge just to get him in jail a day earlier. I don't give a shit. And knowing full well that he is miserable and sweaty and angry and shitty and freaking out. If he goes to fucking jail, it'll be the most relaxing moment of his fucking life. I shit you not. Trump goes to jail. It'll be the first deep breath he's taken since 1991. Because there's a certain calm in being totally fucked. It's the edge of fucked where I like this guy. Trump is lit. This is the worst he has ever felt in his life. And he's made so many people feel awful. He deserves to feel this way. Once you take his freedom, he's a victim. He can lay there. It's white collar shit. He thinks he'll be out in a couple of years. He'll be fighting, and somebody will ghost write a book for him, and blah blah blah. No. Should he be convicted? Of course. Is he guilty? Yes. But the worst he's feeling is right now. There's more news with Mike Lindell. There's more breaking news. All right, hold on. One last thing. You guys are fucking going to keep me here. I just know it. Because he filed his FBI lawsuit. Oh, yeah. Okay, so where is it? I go to the latest. So the lawyers post search warrant showing he is under investigation for identity theft. That's hilarious. What? Show post search warrant. He's under. Oh, I hold on. I know what this is. Check this out. So this is alternate.org. Okay. Mike Lindell's lawyers. We've talked about this. Don't you love watching my show and being way ahead of everybody else? Under investigation for identity theft. Let's see. This has to do with Tina Peters, who he helped leave the state. He helped her get the fuck out of state. And what she did, she stole somebody's identity to sneak somebody into that room. Remember the guy she brought into the before the trusted build that copied all this shit? And they used the ID of the guy who passed the security check. Remember that? We've talked about this like 4 times. That's why. That's what this is about. Everybody's like, identity theft? What? Far extremist and conspiracy theorist, who is also CEO of MyPillow, for long, is suing the U.S. Department of Justice attempt to get his cell phone returned so he executed a search warrant. Posted a copy of the warrant. Lindell is reportedly under investigation for identity theft, conspiracy to defraud the United States, and other potential crimes. Yeah, that's identity theft. People are like, identity theft? Approve the warrant based on the thing. Says the FBI authorized to use his fingerprints to access his phone, to hold the phone in front of Lindell's face to activate facial recognition, law and crime ads. Last week, Attorney Dershowitz claimed the Biden administration is targeting Lindell for his political views. Bullshit. He aided and abetted a felon of evading capture and provided her with a hiding place. Shut the fuck up. And on Greg Kelly's show, of course. I think we did that clip, didn't we? Yeah. So everybody's going to like, identity theft? Yes. FBI just said Tina Peters probe. Right. It's everybody going, I see 2 likes, 2 comments. So you're like, okay. This is the best Wednesday ever. Tisha James, so in the Ginny Thomas interview by Jan 6, 11th Circuit Appellate in favor of the DOJ. Michael Lindell under investigation relating voting issues. More. They got nothing on me. That's hilarious. The FBI has been in possession of Hunter Biden's laptop for over 2 years. No, they haven't. Yet the Bureau is more concerned with Mike Lindell's cell phone. Perhaps they're trying to hack MyPillow for deals for themselves so they can sleep at night. That's hilarious. Ew. Hold on. I want to do Mike Lindell identity theft because I bet folks that aren't as well informed as you folks aren't going to. Yeah, we know who had Mike Lindell accused of identity theft on their Crimers of the Century bingo cards. Fucking me. That's Jesus. Things that DOJ is investigating with regards to 1-6. Okay, there we go. Let's put this out there. Okay. Yeah. So the identity theft stuff is Tina Peters did it. He helped her evade capture. And avoid talking to the police and all that shit. But watch for people to take that phrase and go, what? Identity theft? What is this about? Like blowing, like now they're going after him for what the fuck? What do they think? He stole people's information on mypillow.com where they blah, 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 yeah, you'll hear a bunch of that shit. Yeah, it's all over the news, I will say. Oh, search warrant. I want to see the search warrant though. Where's the whole thing? Are they posting it? It's alternate. Where'd they post it? Block. Go away. Let's see. Where's the... Hold on. I'll find it, goddammit. Mike Lindell search warrant texts. Oh, I think they put news. Six days ago. Where's the newest one? It's so okay. Lawyers post something like that. All news. Do it in order. 5 hours of my pillow. The Sue's overseas phone. God damn. Where the ba? Alternets just got it up. News at Yahoo. Yeah, here we go. Let's see if they post it. There we go. This is the attachment that they were putting in here. Search seizure warrant. We looked at part of this. Yeah, that's this picture. Yada yada. Okay, the state of the minus subject. All records and information attempting to subject to conceal individuals' involvement in the subject offenses. And then there's, where's the subject offenses? Is it in the other thing? Where? Term computer. Yeah, he can, even if he uses a fucking laptop as a phone, he could take that too. Okay, that's the items to be seized. Dominion computerized voting system. Damage or modify. There you go. Successful misappropriation, theft, conversion, transfer, exfiltration of proprietary hardware, software, data. All records, information relating to Conan James Hayes' use of another person's name. That's what it is, right here. That's it. Look at that, baby. Right there. All records and information about Conan James Hayes' use of another person's name, photograph, credentials, and other identifying information or documents. That we talked about this. Well, I got you covered, baby. I got you guys covered. We covered this. We done this. This is so great. This is so and the fact is that person with Tina Peters stole another person's ID to get into this trusted build area illegally. They knew of it. That was one of the crimes she was in trouble for when she was avoiding her subpoena. She fucked off. He flew her out of state and then hit her and bragged about it on his fucking show, which makes him an accessory after the fact. If they seize his phone and they find out that she told him about the plot, like, I got this guy and he's going to use this, then he's a direct accessory. Like, it's so, like, this fucking so easy. Yeah, so we saw that real bill about Ginny Thomas. It's going to be so good. It's a good birthday week. I appreciate it. Thanks for all the love. I just feel like we're getting so much stuff. Yeah. Did Pillow attempt to sue the FBI? Yes, he did. He already filed it they filed it on Tuesday. It'll be thrown out next week. Does Hal have a TARDIS? Huh. Shh. Although I think I would make a good Doctor Who America. Why haven't we just have a Doctor Who, the American one? We got The Office. Why the fuck not? Huh? MT is live now. Oh, MTG is live right now, or? Oh, Midas Touch. Yeah, I'll send you guys over there. How about that? Give me 1 second. Since I'm going to check out, I'll send you guys to Midas Touch because they'll cover this too. Yeah, there they are. I'm going to start a raid and send you to those guys so you guys can watch them, and I'll let you guys go. Take care of yourself and take care of somebody else, and I will see you guys from Chicago starting tomorrow. Okay. You good? You got some good? It's going to be good? It's going to be good. Come on now. Hold on. I'm going to send this over there. Ready to raid. Raid right now. Tell them it's a Sparks raid. Let them know that we love them. Send them our love. Tell them Hal's got the Midas touch, whatever. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. This is so fun. This is so fun. It's just so fun. And by the way, have I not told you? I mean, can I not? I mean, this is not me It's not 100% I told you so. It's about 20%. The rest of it is you're in good hands. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your support. Patrons, thank you for letting us have these moments of dunking on people, because it's you guys have held the fort, and I appreciate it. Okay, bye. Like on your way out. Give a thumbs up on your way out. Give it a shot. Subscribe.